Greetings, Bapo family. Bapo, believe ambitiously, persevere opportunities outstandingly. The topic for this morning is national security. I would like to look at national security with regards to the Asian migrants who seek asylum versus the Indians who came to Jamaica recently on a charter flight. Let me speak about the Haitians. The Haitians seek asylum based on the security crisis in Haiti. And all those Haitians were denied their asylum, which seems suspicious. Is it that all those Haitians were of questionable character? It is highly improbable that those Haitians, all those asylum seekers, were of questionable character. It is better for the security ministry to issue a statement that we are not sure about the character because we are unable, based on the security crisis in Haiti, we are unable to retrieve information from the government. We are unable to get adequate information to satisfy our security queries to grant the Haitians asylum. But to say that they didn't match certain security procedures. They didn't match to certain security procedures. It seems very suspicious, at least. Very suspicious. As I said, it is highly improbable that all the Haitians that were sent back in such crisis were of questionable character. The justification as to such action was to prevent further Haitians from entering Jamaica to seek asylum, which by itself would naturally be a violation of international law. It was a violation of international law. Such act was a violation of international law. And it is of utmost importance that any further asylum seekers, that the right procedures should be followed. The Andrew Olney-led administration must learn from such error. It was an error on the part of the Ministry of National Security. I'm cognizant of the fact that the prisons in Haiti actually overrun by gangs. There's a coalition of gangs led by Barbecue, Jimmy Cherizier, the famous Barbecue. I'm aware. But regardless of the fact that Haiti overrun by gangs, the human dignity must be respected. The laws, international laws, must be respected. It can't be a situation in which, based on the stigma, people are just stigmatized as to yes, they should be processed individually, and if they are persons within such group that seek asylum of questionable character, the government can actually send back those individuals to their country, to Haiti. But you are telling me the government, the National Security Ministry, want us to believe that all those Asians were of questionable character? It's not impossible, but highly improbable. There must be change. There must be change. It can't be like this, in which we just assume or based on if you cannot send a person back, it's like a person running from out the fire and you're putting him back in the fire. That's not humanitarian. That's not how you treat people, with dignity, human dignity. That's not it. Process each asylum seeker. And I understand, and on the other hand, there might not be adequate information to process those asylum seekers. And there will be, and the National Security Ministry might find another justification by saying they don't have any detention center or anything to keep, any facility to keep those Asians until adequate information can be provided to satisfy these security concerns. And when you look at it, there's a situation now with the Indian nationals. And I do believe that regardless as how it might seem, the Andrew Holness-led administration, the National Ministry of National Security, learned from its mistake. They should have the right thing, let them on board and try to investigate as to why there was a flight to Jamaica, why there was such German chartered flight to Jamaica. Because it's good to do investigation, to find out why. And if other Indians national, there was a Uzbek national on the plane, on the plane as well, who board the plane. The national security of any country is of utmost importance. So it was the right thing to do. Let them monitored under police guard and do proper investigation. Because if they don't come by plane, they might end up here by boat or other means. So let us find out why these Indians came to Jamaica and who financed those Indians. Because it is good to get enough information to make further inquiry to prevent further action. Because it cannot be a situation in which we just look at it away as if, they shouldn't. It was a right thing. It was a right decision, in my view, to further investigate. To just send them back without knowing as why they were here, who financed those Indian nationals and Uzbek nationals to here. It wouldn't be a wise decision with regards to national security of our country. It is good to know, to be aware of this situation as to why these Indians nationals and Uzbek national was in the country, were in the country for, were in the country, came to the country. It can't be it can't be a way like we are saying. I heard a reporter ask a question like, why were they placed in a 4-star hotel? The reason would be given is that Jamaica don't have any detention, and that should change. Who really, the question is, who financed the hotel? Who paid? I don't believe it is the government. So, and that's not the government responsibility to finance the hotel fee. It's not the government. It wasn't the government responsibility, to my knowledge. No, it wasn't the government who paid the fee. So there must be further investigation. If there's actually a trafficking ring, human trafficking ring, what was it? The situation? What was the reason for these Asians to enter our country? And how long they are doing this thing? How long they are entering the country this way? So if I was a police officer, I would investigate. I would ensure, if I was in the investigative, first of all, I would actually look at the German embassy first, which security team, which security company hired for the protection of the German embassy, and do a further investigation from there, as to find out why these Indian nationals actually came to Jamaica, and how long such practice. Because as what I said earlier, it might not be the first time they might came here by other means. So it wasn't a bad decision, it was a wrong call to allow them to on board the flight. It wasn't a wrong call, because you have to investigate to find out why these persons were actually coming to Jamaica. These individuals. Why those Indian nationals were coming here in the first place. So it was a right call. It was a right call. I don't see it as social stratification or classism or of any nature. I don't see it as that. I believe that the Andrew Holness-led administration, national security team, got it wrong with the Asians, but this time they got it right. Because human dignity is of utmost importance, and we can't just look at it away as if the Asians is a Asian versus Indian, and because they are Indian, they are treated differently from the Asians. We can't look at it like that, because that's a different argument as to why we would have mistreated our Asian brothers and treat Indians, with dignity. The Asians, the situation in Haiti, the security crisis in Haiti is of concern. Was the call, we can even look at it within the confines of economy. Was the call to allow the Indians to onboard? Was a result of the economy? Because we have to be mindful that Indians contribute greatly to our economy. The Indian diaspora is large in Jamaica. So we have to look at it economically. We have to look at it whether the call was economical and security as well. It could very well be that the government decision based on economy and cause, because if those Indians were placed under police guard at a facility that might not be up to standard, or they're up to standard and they feel mistreated, when they went back to India and they speak to their friends and other people that they were mistreated in Jamaica, that's not good. That can stop potential investors, Indian investors, from coming to our country to invest. So you have to look at it economically. We have to look at it economically as well. But if we are saying that in an economical way, what are Asians contributing to our economy in any way? Was that the reason why all those Asians were denied asylum? I hope not. The decision to send back all those Asians, as what I said earlier, was a wrong decision. Jamaica, land we love, the national security of Jamaica, land we love, is of utmost importance. But the rights and the law international law must be respected. We cannot trample on the rights of an individual because of their geographical background or their race. So therefore, the Andrew Holness-led administration must learn from such error with the Haitians. They are humans. The Indians are humans also. And it cannot be a situation where we look at one person better than the other. You know, this whole social stratification, classism, that is where everything starts, you know. Social stratification, classism. Because I am not pleased with the reason given as to why those Asians, all those Asians, were sent back to a war zone. I am not satisfied with such reason. Because there is no way, as what I said earlier, it is highly improbable that all those Asians were of questionable character. And if the national security, if the Ministry of National Security unable to get information, to retrieve information on those asylum seekers, I would understand. But it would be morally right, to send them back. Even in that scenario, we're not sure, so we are keeping you until adequate information, until these certain procedures are followed. We are not sure, so you will be here in our country until that such information provided to us and we are satisfied that you, Mary Jane or John Tom, is not of questionable character. But if it's a situation in which we just put everyone in a bag and say, yes, this is the situation in Haiti, you know, they're all criminals, they're all gangsters. Anyway, send them back. We don't want no problem. It cannot be a government. A government cannot operate like that. International laws must be respected. Human dignity must be respected. Select those individuals a one-on-one basis and say, you, Mary Jane, you are of questionable character. Therefore, this is the basis or the grounds as to which you will be sent back to your country. John Tom, you are of questionable character. And this is the basis, the reason why you will be sent back to your country. But if there wasn't due process, if there wasn't due process, how can it's not a situation of justice? And what I always said, if there's no justice, you can't have peace. That was justice. It has to be a one. Each individual must be processed. They must be processed individually. You cannot just broad brush a group of asylum seekers. You might find one there. We say yes, this person, and you just assume that everyone in the group is of questionable character. I am not sure about you, Mary Jane, so therefore, if I'm not sure about you, everyone else in the group, I'm not sure about as well. So I will just send you back to your country where you belong and work it out. So if you go back and God forbid, something bad happen, that wasn't the right call, as what I said. It wasn't the right call. It wasn't the right call. Haitians' lives matter. All lives matter. Because we have to put ourselves in our brothers and sisters' shoes in Haiti, We are of close proximity. We are very close. What if we were in their shoes? Would we want to deny asylum because of the situation in our country? The golden rule, do unto others as we would like them to do unto us. That's the golden rule. And if we adhere to the golden rule, we will never be wrong in everything, in all aspects of life. We'll always be right. But a lot of times, we are very insensitive towards the emotion of others. We are not in the situation, so we are saying, hey, we're good. And on the other hand, I always point out to this, make this reference that people will actually criticize Donald Trump border wall initiative. And at the same time, those same Jamaicans will not even entertain the idea of a Haitian to enter Jamaica. But the same individuals, they will say, hey, that what Donald Trump is doing is wrong and he should build a wall. But at the same time, border security is of utmost importance. And if we are saying that the Asians don't have a right to come in our country, but everyone else, Mexican, everyone else have a right to enter another person's country, that's not just it. We are not thinking rational. We are thinking selfish. That's selfish thinking. We can't just look at it a way to say that Asians can't come to Jamaica because, quote unquote, they are criminal gangs in Haiti, criminal gangs in every other country. But why? Criminal gangs overrun Haiti. The prisons are overrun by criminal gangs. A lot of criminals escaped, were freed by the other gangs. We can't look at it that way. Every country has its problem. And the Asians, you know, it's just unfortunate that they are in this such situation. A breakdown in national security. If the gangs overrun Haiti, what the international community course of action to ensure normality to Haiti? If people within Haiti, law-abiding Asians, who don't wish to be a part of the conflict, who don't wish to be killed, seek asylum and were denied asylum, it seems like, you know, because it seems very inhumane, because we have to be mindful, you know. Colloquially speaking, a drowning man catch a straw. So if you want to be out, you don't want to be in a conflict zone where a stray, you know what I'm talking about, might touch you, and that is it for you. It cannot be like this, where we just look at all lives matter. All lives of utmost importance. All lives matters. It's not black life versus white life or brown life. It is all lives matter. So the Asians who seek asylum should be given asylum once there is once procedures or security checks are followed, and each asylum seekers, those who passed the security checks, should be given asylum. Should be given asylum. Everyone wants to live, you know. Well, not everyone, but most people want to live. Because life is sacred. When you die, that is it for you. So people want to live, so people seek asylum. They are thinking about their family, their loved ones. They want to be here for their children. And to send them back without, you know, it must be disheartened for them. It must be of a sad situation for them, in which they are saying, look at it. There must be individuals in such group that are saying, look, we tried and our Jamaican neighbors sent us back to the war zone. Nobody care about us. It's like the Michael Jackson song, all I wanna say, they don't really care about us. You know how sad that is? To feel so alone, feel so neglected, forsaken, as if your life don't matter, your family don't matter. So I'm just send them back. Yeah. So if anything or anything, so any card play, you send them back. Most likely, there will be one card play and number 3. So we have to look at it in a way that we protect lives, try to save lives as best as possible. It is not about where the argument as to we don't want to take in Asian migrants because we don't want to entertain the idea or give other Haitians the green light to bomb rush our country. What if we were in such situation? Wouldn't we want to be given the green light to bomb rush their country? I know I would. I would want the green light to enter their country. But the selfish nature of humans, our selfish nature, trample on our humanity. We are not looking at it in the sense that we would want the same privilege. We would want the same opportunity to enter their country if our country overrun by gangs, which is not impossible for our country to overrun by gangs, because we indeed have a rampancy of gang in our country as well, and if they are not check and balance, we might overrun by gang as well, and we might want to seek asylum probably in Cuba. You know? And our Cuban brothers, the Cuban authority, might shun us and say, when Haiti had their conflict, well, you know, karma is real. What goes around comes around. So they might say, what, when Haiti had their conflict, you shun Asian. So we are not taking in any Jamaican in our country. So you know what? That is a situation in which our goose cook. Well, not our goose, but we will get what the duck receive. Let us put it that way. Knock. So we need to look at it in a way in which we think about humanity rather than our perception of others. Think about humanity. We would want the same favor. Even for the Indian nationals. We enter a country who don't want to be placed in a inhumane condition. We would want to be treated with dignity. So they were treated with dignity and placed in a 4-star hotel. So we would want the same thing. So let us look at it that way, that we would want the same thing. So do unto others as the golden rule. I would want the same treatment. I wouldn't want to be mistreated because regardless of the fact that I want to enter a country illegally or legally, but therefore whatever reason I want to enter the country, human dignity must be respected regardless of their intentions. What were the reasons for the Asians to seek asylum? That would be a rhetorical question, because we are all aware of the situation in Haiti. What was the reason for the Indians to enter Jamaica on a chartered flight? Those are questions to be answered, unanswered questions. Because there could be reason and there could be reasons. There was a Uzbek national. What was the reason? So let us just look at it in a way that, try to find the reasons why and do proper investigation, follow protocol, but you can't breach international law or just put international law aside because of quote unquote perception. Everyone in Haiti cannot be a criminal. Everyone in Haiti cannot be a gangster. There's a coalition of gangs in Haiti, but everyone in Haiti cannot be a gangster. So we are saying that, I am saying that the reasons given was not justifiable to send back all those asylum seekers to their country. It wasn't even the right decision in terms of, it wasn't even morally right. Morally, have a moral sense, because if you look at it, you are saying the government send back those, by sending back all those Asians, seems very, it seems very questionable. But it seems like, in my view, we have a thing against Asians. Like, they are not good people. Process each asylum seekers, and if there are individuals within the group that don't not in accordance with security procedures and protocols, well, God forbid, they have to enter their country of birth. But I don't think that a law-abiding citizen should be deprived of asylum. I don't believe that in any way that you should deprive a law-abiding citizen of asylum, a person who don't wish to be unalive by gangsters who overrun their country. What we have to be cautious, meticulous in the way we treat asylum seekers, the way we treat people as a whole. We have to be cautious. It cannot just be a situation where we just treat people according to maybe race, color, nationality. All human beings has a right to be treated with dignity, human dignity. All human beings must be treated with dignity. Thank you. Bapo TV, I'm out.